Well, congratulations. Were there times that you, with your injuries and over the last 2 years, did you think that an extension was a possibility?
Um, yeah, I said to the boys downstairs just before, about 6 months ago, I thought I was going to be standing in front of them saying thanks for the memories. So, um, yeah, I certainly at the start of the year wasn't expecting it, and I guess I was lucky to string a few games together, and obviously very fortunate to be in the position to get a new deal. So, I'm thrilled to be a part of it for another couple of years, and hopefully a few more after that.
How hard were those times where you couldn't get your body right, and every time you felt like you were healthy, you got struck by that bad luck curse again?
Yeah, there was some challenging times. Definitely, it was. I guess personally, it was really tough at times, but also I still really enjoyed coming into the place each day. So I guess that made it a little bit easier. But I sort of felt like I was letting everyone down on a continual basis. So I sort of wanted to hide away in the shadows a little bit too. So yeah, it definitely had its moments. That's for sure. So it's been great to be able to get back out there and repay a bit of that faith over the last, I guess, 3 or 4 months.
And then even in the last month or so, once again, you had probably your best game as a Lion. I think it was like 5 or 6 weeks ago, and then the foot again.
Yeah, the old feet. They haven't served me too well, have they? Yeah, I don't know. It's just what it is. I mean, I sort of knew this time that we got onto it pretty quick, and I sort of set myself to get back as quickly as possible, which ultimately I did. Tried to push them to be even sooner, but they when I got back was as quick as I could. So I guess having that end point in line with sort of where it's going to finish made it a little bit easier this time, whereas probably other times it's been a case of not really knowing. It's like, oh, maybe 4 weeks, and then you get to that 4 week period and it drags out again, and that's probably when they do get really tough. So yeah, the last one was sort of more of a minor inconvenience compared to what I've had previously.
What does it do for your headspace, Marcus, to have your future kind of sorted ahead of the finals, have that hanging over you?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's great to have that sorted, and I guess it doesn't sort of interfere too much with the finals as it is anyway. I'm thrilled to be part of this group and the opportunity that we have to be able to be part of another finals campaign. Obviously, third year in a row in the top four is huge for us. And I'm, yeah, as I say, thrilled to be part of it and thrilled to not have to worry about that side of things as well.
Didn't seem like you missed much of a beat coming back in on Saturday. Did it feel pretty good, even though you missed sort of 4 or 5 weeks?
Yeah, the first half was a little bit of, I guess, an adjustment to the pace and the collisions, and I guess that feeling of your fitness that you don't tap into in training really, like it's another level. So I felt that especially in the first half, and then sort of I felt like I started to warm into it, and I'm really happy that I was able to get one under the belt ahead of finals. So yeah, no, it was a little bit tougher than you might think to transition back in, but yeah, it's good to get that one under the belt.
The selections were the talking point last week of how you all fit back in. If you fit, like, was it a bit of a shame not to be selected in the first place? Like, because you said it's nice to have that one under the belt.
I guess in that, like, I mean, it's good that we have such good depth that there's that issue. So it's everybody wants to be playing every week, so it's tough when you might not be getting a run around, but it's also a pretty good sign for where we're at if we have good players missing out. So I didn't read too much into it. I guess I was just happy to be back from injury and available. So it's tough to pick a different team to the one that's won by, I think, 65 and 85 points the 2 weeks prior. So yeah, I didn't expect to roll straight back in anyway.
It's going to be hard to change. It's going to be hard to change a team that wins by 6 goals as well. I mean, Harris has got to come back in yet.
Yeah, well, I don't think you have too many dramas fitting Harris in. I might give it back out again. So I'm pretty sure we'll find room for him, and obviously Mitch Robb as well. Those guys are pretty influential and pretty important to the team. So I think we'll find room for them. But as you say, it is a challenge to somebody who's obviously played well is potentially going to have to make way. So that's tough for them as well.
Heading into this weekend, how do you sort of, I guess, approach it? It's a little bit of an unknown of when you get there and how long you stay for, if you stay for the extra week and whatnot.
Well, we're pretty well versed, I guess, in that after this year. I think 2 or 3 times that we've been on the road, we haven't actually expected to be as long as we have. So that's sort of become the norm. And I think with what Danny's given us this morning in terms of information, it's probably one of the best sort of structured itineraries, I guess, that we've had for, for most of the season. So it's actually not too much of an inconvenience, and it's the same for everybody else as well. It's not like we're the only ones that are going to be affected. So we make do with what we've got and go out there and try and play our best footy. That's all we can really focus on.
What's it look like? What's that itinerary?
Well, I think we'll... Am I allowed to talk about this? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so we'll head in on Friday afternoon. Obviously, there's the game there on Friday night, so we won't be able to train at Adelaide Oval. So I guess it changes a little bit. We have to isolate after our COVID tests and whatnot, but at least we get to go in the day before, and theoretically we should be out the day after, but we won't hang our hats on that just yet. And then, so yeah, I guess it's just a normal schedule in the day before, play the game, and then out the next day. So it's pretty smooth.
Just on that, looking forward then, I mean, the next game by rights is at the Gabba, whenever that may be. Is that what you've been told? Is that how you still see it? Is that how you...
As I said, as far as we believe, that's the case. But you never know what's going to happen, because if teams can't get into Brisbane, we might have to play that final away from here. But we would like to obviously play at the Gabba every week if we could. It's obviously a fortress for us, and 22,000 in on the weekend. It felt like there was 70,000 at times. It was electric, and fingers crossed we can get that game there, and hopefully it's in 2 weeks' time, not next weekend. So
the flip side of that is that, I mean, under normal circumstances, you'd be facing the D's in front of 70,000, 80,000 fans at the G. It might be a big advantage that you've got this neutral territory game for you in Adelaide.
yeah, well, I think Adelaide and WA obviously have so many supporters of footy, so they'll probably be able to find 30 or 40,000 Demons supporters to fill it up anyway, and no doubt they'll be pretty parochial as well. So I think they'll still have, I guess, that advantage of their crowd, which is great. They've earned that, so that's what we've got to contend with, and we'll look forward to that challenge when it comes.
You started the homework on the D's yet, and obviously that game on the weekend was pretty good, wasn't it? That fourth quarter for them anyway.
Yeah, they played some great footy in that fourth quarter. We sort of touch on it, I guess, earlier in the week and build up the homework throughout the week. So some guys sort of started yesterday, Arvo, and some this morning, and that'll just continue to escalate over the next few days, and we'll have a real good look at them as a team. And obviously, having played them earlier in the year as well, we get to look back on that and try and find a few things that didn't work for us and the other things that did, and try and get more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff this week. So,
well, when you last played, it was a 40-point turnaround, 42-point turnaround. You guys were up at half time, and then they did a job on you in that second half.
Yeah, exactly. So as I say, we've got a good look at some good stuff in the first half, and then a good look at some bad stuff in the second half to do our homework on, and hopefully we can, as I say, get more of the good and less of the bad this time around and get the result that we're after.
What do you look at most? Do you look at the good stuff, or do you just go, no, this is where we need to fix it up?
I feel like you sort of get a bit of a 50-50 split, really. Like, you never want to look at too much of the good stuff, but then you never want to look at too much of the bad stuff either. So I think we get a pretty good blend. And we obviously won't look at just that game as well. There's other games that we'll look at that they've played against other opposition and that we've played against other opposition. So I don't think it'll be exclusively that game that we do all of our homework on. So yeah, there's lots of information at this time of year that you can pull apart, but it's sort of finding what's most applicable to what we're going to do this week.
What was the bad? What do you have to fix?
Well, I think the contest turned around a lot. In the first half, it felt like we were getting the ball going our way from stoppage and contest a lot, and then in the second half, obviously they've got some great players and so do we. So it's when they get on top, they typically can get on top and play some amazing footy. You don't finish on the top of the ladder for no reason. And obviously our midfield as well, when they get on top, can get us going forward repeatedly as well. So I feel like that was the shift from my end, and then they moved the ball extremely well, which is no secret to anybody. So it's probably that contest battle and who can get on top there, I guess, and it's a pretty good battle to watch from behind the ball if we're on top, and hopefully we get a bit more of that this week.
The nature of footy, the guys up kicking all the goals get all the headlines, but Fags in the last couple of weeks has been constantly talking about the things he's focusing on is the defence and holding opposition to lower scores. I guess having the last sort of couple of weeks, does it give the confidence of that back six that you guys are finding the right form at the right time? Yeah,
well, I think for a lot of the year we've been pretty good at defending opposition's ball movement. At times they've got through us and scored more heavily than we would like. no one likes to give us too many plaudits, so we just sort of sit in the shadows and try and do our work behind the scenes, I guess, while the forwards like Charlie, they're in the limelight, and we don't mind that too much. It's nice. It's just to slide by and do your work. So offense and defense is always going to be hand in hand. I mean, you still got to score, so you can't say defense is more important, and then you can't hang your hat on offense, because if opposition kick more points, then you still lose. So.
You said no one likes to give you guys the plaudits. I mean, Harris and Starcevich were both pretty unlucky to miss out on that 40-man squad. Were you surprised that neither of them made that All-Australian squad?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised with both of them, to be honest with you. Stas has been amazing all year, and the jobs that he does week in, week out are pretty remarkable. And Harris, I think his intercepting game is probably as good or better than it's ever been. So as the incumbent fullback, I would have thought that he would be around about the mark again. But, I mean, Harris being Harris probably doesn't really care too much about that. He's more excited about what's to come over the next month, and I doubt it's probably even registered on his radar, to be honest with you.
What about the Benjamin Button of AFL, Daniel Ridge? He just keeps getting better, doesn't he? He's the older he gets.
Yeah, he's clocking up nearly 1 kilometre of metres gained every week, so that's really nice for us as well. Like, and I guess it's really hard for opposition forward lines, because they actually have to genuinely defend him. Like, they can't just let him roam around, because he's so dangerous, and his ability to use the ball is as good as I've seen coming off half-back or anywhere in the field, really. He can just put it wherever he wants it, whenever he wants to, so it's a credit to him, and we're pretty lucky to have that in our side, and hopefully he can bring it for another month, and then we'll see what happens.
Is it a motivator, like someone like Starcevich who's played well for 2 years now, to go and do that after being overlooked, to continue that into a finals campaign and really sort of prove himself? Do you think that there's an element of that?
I think probably everybody who was sort of around about the mark will have a little bit of, I wouldn't say added motivation. Everybody who's at that level probably has enough motivation as it is, without needing extrinsic sort of stuff to drive them. But Stas is a pretty proud guy, and he'll probably want to go out and put his best foot forward in finals footy and on the big stage and show what he can do. And he gets a tough job every week, and he really thrives on it, whether it's round 2 or 3 or a qualifying final. So he'll definitely be going out there putting his best foot forward this week. Yeah.
A lot of people think he's the best shutdown medium-sized defender in the competition. Do you guys think he is?
Yeah, I reckon he'd be, like, he's unique in the fact that he can play on the electrifying smalls, but he's actually like a big, strong bull of a footballer. Like, his physicality is pretty remarkable for his ability to then go and run with the small guys. He's super quick as well, so he's quite versatile. He's not, I guess, limited in the roles that he can play. So I feel like as a defender you sort of need that, and that makes you, I guess, a more valued part of the team. And we're, as I seem to be saying about everybody, we're extremely lucky to have him in our side, so it's good.